the cartoon introduction to philosophy. Surprising fact, this was not created by Larry Gonick. Not expecting him to create it though, because he's more of a math guy and a historical guy. This was created by Michael F. Patton and illustrated by Kevin Cannon. I assume it's illustrated by Kevin Cannon. Now, this cartoon introduction to philosophy talks mainly about the basics of philosophy. It doesn't go too deep into philosophy in the sense of I know that this is not right. I know that it's not right to clone someone, but should we clone someone and give them our memories just because they are a clone? Do they have human rights? Is one person the same, or do they have different rations? Do they share rations, or do they have the same rations? That's as incredible as that might sound. I'm talking about cloning at a part. Philosophy itself here, we need to become introduced towards before we can even say those contents. So, how should we introduce philosophy towards you? Think of philosophy as a river. We go ahead and pass through that river. We go ahead and talk through that river. We think about it, we go through it, and we learn things about it. Philosophy is the wanting to know something. Humans like to know stuff. We don't like the unknown. And if we don't know stuff, humans throughout history have shown us that we do two things. One, we destroy them. The second one, we just stay away from them. Like, I do not want to go to this place because I have no idea what's inside there. Daredevils are the only ones, so far as I know, who go there. Or experienced experts, but if they're never heard from again, no one wants to go there anymore. We have this tour guide, Heraclitus, one of the 20 early philosophers called the pre-Socratics, whose ideas paved the way for what we know today as Western philosophy. Eastern philosophy is a completely different thing, but Western philosophy is the one that uses more brain power and doesn't have more. Hey, this is an honor system. We honor our parents, or whoever you respect, or whoever your guardian is. It starts off with this. In the beginning, we had all the answers to life's questions. Or rather, we had one answer that fit every question. God did it. Makes sense to me. God did it. Why is water cold? God made it. Why is the sun shining? God did it. Why do I have a beard? God did it. Why did God do it? Who cares? That's what our response was in the beginning. Until we decided that we wanted to know something. God did it. It's unsatisfactory. How do we know that there's a higher being who did all of this when, well, we can't see that higher being? What do we do then? Simple. We start asking questions. We start making observations. We start making assumptions. And we create basic truths that we all agree on and build upon that. We can all agree that humans are living things. We can all agree that, well, lying is... No one wants to lie. No one wants to be lied to. And we can all agree that we have some sort of sense of moral within us. So that moral is created by us humans, not something that a higher deity gave us, like the Ten Commandments from Moses. I still think that is baloney. I feel like that guy just went ahead and imagined that whole thing and just wrote himself on a stone chisel. Heraclitus introduces us towards the big guys of philosophy, and we start to get questions. We start asking questions too. We start asking things. We use logic. The thing about philosophy is we have to use logic. Logic is the basis of everything. If it's illogical, like say 1 + 1 = 1, which is completely illogical, then you go ahead and you call that argument false. If one part of your argument is false, then the following part of that argument, the one that's built up on that false assumption, is false. This becomes really interesting when you try to prove stuff like God exists. You want to prove God exists, but there's this one argument that I really, really loved. It was this argument. Let me explain to you. All right. I have an ideal vision of this person. He is an all-being, all-powerful person. I can go ahead and imagine him. I can imagine him in every ways. As a result, he must exist. He must exist. Yeah, he must exist in your imagination for sure. But then someone else went ahead and gave us a counter argument. I imagine that there's this pretty island in the middle of the sea. It's beautiful, it's tropical, it's awesome. I want to live there and I can afford to live there. So that island must exist. Does that make sense? Of course not. That makes no sense. So that God argument is illogical. Then we have to talk about other things. Ethics, infinity, all those things, and axioms. Logic itself is the basis of all philosophy. Now that you understand that, I assume that you understand that now, we have to go ahead and talk about other questions of life. We go ahead and talk about things of morally things. But before we even talk about that, let's talk about free will. Do I have free will? Do I exist? That kind of stuff. Now, this René Descartes is what is the best at this. He went ahead and created these assumptions as cogito ergo sum, I think, therefore I am. He proves his own existence, where he goes ahead and says that I can't trust everything. It's like the Matrix. You go ahead and you see everything. It could be just an electrical impulse that's directed towards your brain. Someone's controlling your brain. Someone went ahead and created something towards you. But you're thinking about all this. You're doubting it. There must be a doubt. There must be a doubt there. So, I exist. I think, therefore, I am. That's a really good argument, and that's pretty much the only thing you can argue for. You can only know that you exist as someone, even if you don't have free will. There is someone, though. And then we talk about ethics. We get to talk about ethics. My favorite part of philosophy. Ethics in the sense of, hey, everyone's doing everything else. Everyone's doing our duties. We go ahead and find our own moral sense within us. So, how we know that we have these duties. How exactly do we discover our duties? Now, how do we go ahead and talk about our duties? It's too complicated to answer, so let's go ahead and simplify it to one example. Lying. So let's say that if someone is here and says that, someone who's very short says, I am 42 feet, you probably won't believe that person who said that. They put it lightly, yeah. You won't believe that exactly. But when a few minutes ago, while I'm asking you that I'm 42 feet, when you went ahead and said that your friend who said 42 feet went ahead and said, I left my wallet at home, I need you to pay the drinks. Well, the people who paid you the drinks totally believed him, but he lied. Notice how lying, he was making an exception for himself that no one else gets to take advantage of. And basically, if he is not moral, if he allows himself to do these things that others can't, it breaks the universality condition that everyone has to follow those things too. Everyone has to follow a set of rules, and if they don't follow those rules, they should be shunned by society. People hate following rules for some reason, though. We humans like to be guilty, be greedy, and go ahead and improve our own self-gain. To go ahead and put us up to the top. The number one person on the planet should be me, they say. The people who don't are probably happy, but they won't be satisfied. They'll be satisfied, but they won't exactly be sad either. They'll be happy, yes, but they won't be successful. They won't make a name for themselves. Everyone who knows your name, then you made yourself a star. Every little kid's dream is to become famous. Well, it should be to become famous. As long as it's for good, not infamy. And that's pretty much all the few points of Cartoon Introduction to Philosophy. It's not a textbook. It's a story. It's a story that teaches you about philosophy. It tells you about logic and argument by climbing a mountain. It tells you about lying while buying coffee. It tells you about ethics while murdering people and saving people while trying to murder people. That kind of stuff. So in the end, that's about it. That's the Cartoon Introduction to Philosophy, and that's why you should read it. For those of you who hate textbooks but love comics, this will be the perfect fit for you if you want to learn philosophy. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode, because until next time, Shihana, peace, bye bye!